between the Dolphins and Patriots had playoff ramifications that were indeed pivotal. Though New England was 10-5 entering the game, a playoff berth and division championship hinged on a victory over rival Miami. In addition, both the Jets and Cincinnati held vital interest in these proceedings. A Patriot loss meant the Jets would win the AFC East outright, while the Bengals' hopes for a wild card spot also depended on a Patriot loss. Well, confused? Not important, because the main drama focused on the Patriots themselves. If they win, they're in as division champs. If they lose, they're gone. It all made for a classic do-or-die challenge.
An air of finality pervaded the warm Miami night as the last game of the 86th regular season was also the last pro football game to be played in Miami's aging Orange Bowl, a stadium whose winning legacy is duly documented. Consistent with the night's theme of finality was the circumstance surrounding the visiting New England Patriots, confronted with the very real prospect of seeing their season of 10 victories go unrewarded and come to a sudden end. The Patriots were faced with an all-or-nothing scenario. To make the playoffs, they had to win their division. To win their division, they had to win this game. The game's early stages revealed a potential key to victory for New England, their noted ability to force turnovers. In 1986, the Patriots led the AFC in takeaway-giveaway ratio, and Johnny Rembert's recovery of Lorenzo Hampton's fumble deep in Patriot territory quashed Miami's early scoring threat. Tight end Greg Batty's soft hands on a third down play kept the Patriots moving on their possession, and a 15-yard penalty against the Dolphins put New England at the Dolphin 22. From there, quarterback Tony Eason looked to his burner. Eason's perfectly thrown pass into the outstretched hands of wide receiver Stanley Morgan gave New England a 7-0 lead and sparked the Patriots to complement the finesse of their offense with the more physical side of their team. Forced to punt at the start of the second quarter, Reggie Roby was the surprised recipient of a New England welcoming committee led by number 52, Johnny Rembert. The 8-yard loss set up a Tony Franklin field goal and a 10-0 Patriot advantage. If the Patriots were intent on swiping away good field position, their strategy continued to pay off on the ensuing kickoff. An unwritten rule of thumb in football is that nobody wearing a number between 50 and 79 should touch the football if at all possible. That would include number 66. Miami's affliction of surrendering the ball at inopportune moments had been the story of the game thus far. But on the very next play, the Patriots showed they weren't immune to the problem. Quarterback Tony Eason was credited with the tackle of number 51 Mark Brown, but he injured his shoulder in the process and would not return to action. Following an 18-yard completion, quarterback Dan Marino handed off to running back Lorenzo Hampton. Hampton's 18-yard run set up a Miami field goal, and the Dolphins were on the scoreboard, but trailed 10-3. Soon after, Marino was at the helm again. Though he had just set an NFL record for most completions in a season, his very next attempt would register on the very opposite end of the success meter. Roland James returned the interception 21 yards to the Miami 44 and cued the arrival of New England's new field leader. Steve Grogan was making his 4th appearance of the season. Over the years, injuries had taken their toll on the 12-year veteran, but his most important attributes remained unscathed: his veteran instinct and field generalship. This 28-yard completion to Stanley Morgan set up Tony Franklin's second field goal as the Patriots increased their lead to 13-3. Though New England's defense was ranked 6th in the league against the pass in '86, their approach in defending Dan Marino was similar to that of NBA teams who prepare to play against Larry Bird. You know he's going to get his points. You just hope to keep him under relative control. For most of the first half, the Patriots, while far from dominating, were spared from the full fury of Marino's trigger arm. It would be but a temporary respite. With less than a minute remaining in the half, Marino squeezed off a round from point-blank range. Tight end Bruce Hardy's touchdown reception from a yard out brought the Dolphins to life, and also to the of New England, 13-10. In the Dolphins' offensive scheme, the running game is more or less a device to keep opposing defenses honest. That being the case, Lorenzo Hampton made sure the Patriot defense abided by the honor system. Hampton's 47-yard jaunt put him in the cheerleading spirit and his team in position for a successful game-tying field goal, evening matters at 13. Since the end of the first half, momentum had clearly switched over to Miami, a trend that was underscored when Grogan terribly underthrew number 80, Irving Fryer. Glenn Blackwood's interception gave the Dolphins excellent field position at the New England 46. For Steve Grogan, the role of backup quarterback is not too different from that of a relief pitcher in baseball. He's summoned in times of adversity and expected to perform at a relatively high level of competence. It's a role Grogan has, for the most part, flourished in over recent years, and this was not the game to deliver a forgettable effort. Meanwhile, Dan Marino made sure the Patriots wouldn't forget his stature as the NFL's top quarterback.
Downfield, and that one is.
Clayton's score capped the Dolphins' scoring run of 17 straight points to take their first lead of the game, 20-13. And when the game appeared to be slipping away, Grogan reached down and took a firm grip. Passes to Stanley Morgan, and this 32-yard gain to Irving Fryer brought New England back to life. Though his days as one of the league's most mobile quarterbacks had long since passed, Grogan still had the wheels to take it on in.
Crack back block, but Grogan rolls out to the right. He's on the run. He's down the 5. Steve Grogan in for the touchdown. Now,
the extra point tied the game once more at 20, and though Dan Marino might not have the exhilarating ability of his counterpart, with Lorenzo Hampton to hand off to, he didn't need it. While Hampton handled the ground duties, wide receiver Mark Clayton was the choice for pass catching. Clayton, who had already scored a touchdown, put the Dolphins again out front as Marino put it where it had to be. 19-yard score had the Dolphins ahead 27-20 early in the fourth quarter. But like at Lexington and Valley Forge, it seemed that adversity brought out the best in the Patriots. This completion to Tony Collins was good for 22 and a key to 74-yard drive that culminated when Grogan hit Collins again for another game-tying score. In a sense, the game was played like a heavyweight boxing match as both teams delivered and withstood their stiffest blows. Perhaps the team that could muster the last punch would win the fight. Tied at 27, the Patriot defense held, and Grogan was back under center for a big third down play. Stanley Morgan's catch put New England in Dolphin territory with 2 minutes remaining. For the Patriots, never was the term crunch time more appropriate for a given situation. Their entire season came down to the last minute of the last game, played on a field where they had suffered more defeats than any other team in the NFL. Within field goal range at the Dolphin 30, Grogan shunned the conservative approach, and he went for it all. Stanley Morgan's second touchdown of the night capped a brilliant game in which he caught 8 passes for 148 yards as New England's bold stroke had them 44 seconds from a division championship. With all deference to Darrell Haley's victory swagger, the game was not officially over, especially with the explosive Dolphin offense once again taking the field. But Dan Marino's first offering ended up in the arms of Rod McSwain, and then it was academic. In one of the most memorable games of recent years, the New England Patriots bid a not-so-fond adieu to the Orange Bowl and walked away champions of the AFC Eastern Division. On this night, the Patriots, and Steve Grogan in particular, were not only heroes in the eyes of their fans, but most surely captured the admiration of the entire national television audience. This, however, would be the climax of the Patriots' '86 campaign, as 2 weeks later in the divisional playoff at Denver, they would fall in the final minutes to the Broncos.
The